Hey everybody, my name is Wayne Baker and I'm one of the staff therapists with Affair Recovery. And today we're going to talk about shame. And shame is one of these universal experiences that we all feel whether there's been an affair or not. But particularly when there's been an affair, that the emotion of shame is so strong and it can get triggered so fast that can drive us to take these drastic and often harmful actions toward ourselves and towards someone that we love. How many marriages do you know that are dissolved as a result of shame brought on by infidelity? And people don't even attempt to see if there's anything worth salvaging. It's a way that we attempt to restore honor to ourselves usually. So what we do is we extricate ourselves from the one who shamed us. And then what happens is we verbally stone each other afterwards. But I would bet that you know at least one divorced person after an affair or even after some other reason for a divorce, that you find that they're sentencing themselves to sitting alone in an apartment or an empty room without even trying to see if there's something worth salvaging from their marriage. This shame impacts our sense of worth, our integrity, our honor, and prestige that we had spent a lifetime building. Unless work is done to restore honor and those things that I mentioned, the shame generated by the betrayal can be like a cancer that just slowly destroys and kills the marriage. I will say, and you know if you've been with us for very long, that we don't believe that it's as hopeless as it feels. I want to say it does feel hopeless. I totally get that, but it's not. It's our hope that affected couples will address the betrayal courageously and be a light to others who are in this darkness. We see that time and time again, day after day, that life can come from this death, this betrayal. We've seen it in thousands of couples. So a while back, 2,000 people responded to a social shame from infidelity survey that we did. And I just read some of the results again, and I'm amazed at how many people took this survey to begin with. It showed this primal reaction to separate and distance ourselves from the person who shamed us. It's so strong, in fact, that 75% of betrayed spouses reported feeling ashamed for staying in the marriage right when they discovered the infidelity. We describe this type of shaming. It's the most intense, painful feeling created by the perceived loss of a reputation, the respectability, the dignity, all of that resulting from the shameful actions of someone with whom you're associated with. Another term for that is called vicarious shaming. It turns out that betrayed spouses experience the most social shame versus the unfaithful spouse, even though they're the ones that didn't commit the infidelity themselves. The survey also revealed that 61% of the betrayed spouses feel that they experience more social shame than their unfaithful spouses. Additionally, the majority of the unfaithful spouses agreed with this sentiment, as 70% of the unfaithful respondents said betrayed spouses feel the most social shame. So everybody agrees with that, that the social shame is greater for the betrayed spouse. And one of my favorite authors, Brene Brown, says that shame is a self-worth injury. Considering the overwhelming majority of betrayed spouses, 95% according to the survey, said that they felt a loss of worth as a result of the infidelity. It's safe to say that this concept holds true for vicarious shame as well. But sadly, this type of shame has the potential of leaving the betrayed spouse forever orbiting around this event, never to experience a new life of meaning and purpose. This doesn't have to be the case. The worth and value can be restored, but it takes intentional effort and a lot of specialized help is what we find out. We see many couples time and time again that try to do this on their own, and years later, they come in asking for help, and they've just made matters worse. So as soon as you find out, get some help, and that's why we're here. The survey revealed even when betrayed spouses were not around people who didn't know about their mate's infidelity, a clear majority reported that they felt ashamed. To make matters worse, or even more difficult, 75% reported that the shame left them feeling isolated and alone from those who once were important to them, the people with whom they felt support and empathy, their community. And contrary to primal reactions and cultural beliefs, it's not shameful to stay in a marriage. In fact, it can be quite honorable. Choosing to face shame and work on the marriage for the sake of your children is an honorable thing. Choosing to hang on, as painful as it can be, to see if there's anything worth salvaging, is honorable. Love acts in the best interest of another, and trying to love even when it's undeserved is honorable. Even when the betrayed, if their heart is soft, choosing love over self-protection can make all the difference. For the unfaithful spouse, being loved in response to their lovelessness can be life-altering. I can't stress that point enough. I've seen over and over again where a betrayed spouse will say to the unfaithful spouse, "What you did is excruciatingly painful, but I'm choosing to stay and I love you because I know that's not who you really are." And I know it takes some work to get to that place, but when you can get to that place and say that to your spouse, and you may even say something like, "I may still choose to leave, but I'm going to love you. I'm always going to love you." You watch how that starts to shatter some of the betrayed spouse's protection too. I see it weekly in my own practice. So some other interesting things that came out of the survey are the things that are reported about what a husband or a wife who's been unfaithful can do to restore their mate's honor. And here are the top 7 or so that betrayed spouses chose in this multi-selection question. 84% said that if their spouse would commit to and participate in long-term recovery work for the marriage and for themselves. 69% said accept responsibility for their infidelity to others. 61% said defend me to anyone who would be critical of me. 58% said speak highly of me in public. 56% said openly acknowledge my sacrifice for staying to others. I just ran across that in my practice yesterday, and it meant the world to this woman when her husband went and addressed something with some people at church. She felt so safe and loved by him. And he didn't throw himself under the bus, but he just acknowledged to a group of people what he had done and why it's been so hard for her. She didn't ask him to do it. He just did it. And it wasn't a big, long discussion. He just said, go easy. Here's what's happened. 53% said clearly communicate to their affair partner that I'm the chosen one. And 41% said make amends to my family. If there's amends to be made to your spouse's family or even close friends, those are really important things to do to help with the shame, to walk through it. The problem with untransferred shame is that it leaves you tied to this pain forever. And then what ultimately happens is you just transmit it onto others, your children, your siblings, your spouse, your coworkers, and the list goes on and on and on. Individuals and couples can and do recover from shame and restore their honor. In reality, as hard as it is to believe, there can come a day when truly you think there's no shame or no regret. Only this sense of wonder at how the worst thing that ever happened to you in your life can somehow crazily become the best thing that ever happened. Again, I hear that every week. I see it all the time. If I didn't, I wouldn't be a therapist that specializes in infidelity recovery and trauma work. There's this amazement at how such a consuming feeling as shame can be restored and transformed into this sense of honor. I just saw it yesterday in my practice. A few weeks ago, this woman couldn't even see how to get through it, but slowly by slowly, bit by bit, you just see this transformation unfold in front of me. And they're both working really hard. Rick and I talk about all the time how infidelity can serve as a catalyst to make the marriage a place you never imagined possible. And we would certainly never wish infidelity on anyone. Our hope is that couples won't just leave a marriage because there's been a betrayal, but instead be willing to explore whether there's anything worth salvaging. I pray that couples won't let the pain of shame stall their forward progress, because if they press through the shame, they can learn to love in ways they never thought possible.